It tells me about the past, the present, and the future. Let me begin by saying that the hegemony of Western media has to end. Western media has had it too good for too long, and it has ruined the balance of power that's required, not just in politics and society.
I was told you were a shy and retiring journalist.
Now, since Sam started with numbers, I'd like to share some numbers. Sam's numbers were very interesting. If you look at his numbers, he says that in India, 91% of Indians follow cross-border news. So Indians are most interested about the world. The least interested in the world are the Americans and the British. Only 44 to 46% of people follow cross-border news. But US and UK together contribute 74% of the source of global news, whereas all of Asia contributes 3%. If I were to summarize that in one line, it basically says that Indians are the least insular people, most open-minded. Americans are the most insular people, right? But they have complete dominance over the global narrative in terms of news. I'll share a couple of other numbers with that. I have said recently that India will be the next media capital of the world. And I want to share with this audience why I think so. We have 99,000 publications in India. We have 13,761 registered newspapers in India. We have 404 news channels in India which run 24/7, and we don't have one single global news network. Now, if I look at Sam's figures and the figures that I'm presenting to you, and begin with an assumption, and I'll wrap up, begin with an assumption that there is a problem in the world in terms of balance. It is from countries like India, which speak English, which are democracies, where the challenge to the global news hegemony is about to come. And I just think it's so necessary from a balancing of power perspective. The Americans are very concerned about the entry of Russia into the Middle East. They are more concerned that they are going to lose their balance rather than establishing a new balance. Similarly, in the world of media as well, the time has come to provide a serious counter to global media sources like BBC and CNN, which have been hegemonistic for far too long.
In a few more moments, you will be every bit as popular in Moscow as you clearly are in Delhi. But you use that big words like hegemony. Right, here's your manifesto. This moment, this day, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You've given numbers that talk of balance and hegemony.
Yeah.
India is a huge, prosperous, rich country. What are you going to do about it?
I don't know how prosperous and rich we are, but we are going to be prosperous and rich. Well, I'll share some statistics with you. Look at the potential of a country like India. Today, we have 100 million mobile phones in India. 3 years from now, we'll have 500 million mobile phones in India.
With respect, that was not my question.
Okay.
You say the gap is in India's international reach,
yes,
and the insularity of the UK and the US. What are you, as an Indian media executive, going to do to redress the international balance, if at all?
The first thing that I would do would be to remind the Americans of what they have done in the last 20 years in the world. As the Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai said about the Americans, one of the delightful things about Americans is they have absolutely no historical memory. They don't remember. Or Gore Vidal said that the USA is the United States of amnesia. The fact of the matter is that you must remember today, and I'll only ask one question to this audience. It is 12 years to the day that a theory of the weapons of mass destruction was fed, and, if I may say so, amplified by the Western media. Everyone bought into it. There were cheerleaders. Nobody seriously questioned it. At one point of time, there was an article in the Newsweek magazine which said, it doesn't matter if Iraq has weapons of mass destruction, but the fact is they shouldn't get any. So what I'm going to do, in a very succinct reply to your question, is to restore the balance by creating a global media environment that is not located out of Washington, New York, or London. You create that global capital, you'll have a balance of power. 10 years back, you would have never imagined that India would be the software capital of the world. Today, we are the software capital of the world, and I think that's where we are headed.
Right. I think you've set out your stall